So I was on my YouTube channel, and as I was scrolling, I thought to myself, "Oh my God, I did not review the Star Wars Last Jedi movie. Like, how did I miss that? That's been out for like 2.5 weeks by now, and it just I don't know, maybe because I was focusing so much on other shorts and whatnot. So, for anybody that watches my YouTube channel for my film reviews, I want to apologize to you guys. So, with that being said, better late than never. What are my thoughts on Star Wars The Last Jedi? Or Star Wars Episode 8 The Last Jedi, if you want to say it that. So, Star Wars Episode 8 The Last Jedi, I mean, come on guys. You've seen this movie by now. I know this for a fact. It's about Rey and Luke Skywalker. It's about Princess Leia being general with Poe. You know, now that I think about it, it's always two characters and the chemistry within each other and the dynamics. It's Poe and Leia, it's Rey and Luke, and it's also, unfortunately, Finn and Rose. Like, that's the one that a lot of people have the most problems with. Let me guys tell you how I felt about Star Wars The Last Jedi. Going into it, I didn't really think anything superb or spectacular. First things first, I didn't even watch the second trailer. I did my best to stay away from it every time it premiered in theaters. I walked out or I closed my eyes and my ears. I said I just want to go into it as fresh as possible. And on top of that, I wasn't the biggest fan of The Force Awakens because that to me is a huge rehash of A New Hope, in my opinion. And I understand J.J. Abrams said that the original Star Wars is his, favorite out of all the Star Wars. So, of course, that was his inspiration. But I think your writer felt a little to the same way, unless J.J. was the writer of that as well. I don't remember. So, going to The Last Jedi, with it being written and directed by the same person again, but a completely different person, it's like, okay, are they going into a different direction, or is it going to be a rehash of Empire Strikes Back? Who knows? I go into this movie, and I enjoy the beginning of it, with Poe and BB-8. I'll do my best to stay away from spoilers in this one, just in case those people out there haven't seen it. Watching the film, I definitely could tell it's a different tone, a completely different direction than what The Force Awakens was going by. And that was because of Rian Johnson and how he felt these characters should go. And it's really crazy because of the fact that Mark Hamill himself and Daisy Ridley, they both, as the main leading actors, said they disagreed with Rian Johnson's direction before the movie came out. Right there, that sparked some controversy. But it's not like we can say anything until we see for ourselves. And now that we have, I completely see where they come from. Because in this movie, Luke Skywalker is not the hopeful Jedi that a lot of people grew up with in the original trilogy. He's completely opposite of that. He is the type now that thinks the Jedi should be destroyed. And he's not even a Sith Lord. He is the main Jedi saying Jedi's needs to end. And the way they write it in, I understand why he went in that direction. I see his reasoning for that. But I still kind of side with Mark Hamill a little bit because this is a character that people, again, grew up with. They have a certain, perspective of this character. It's Luke Skywalker. It's the Luke Skywalker. If it's not Darth Vader, it's Luke Skywalker that we're talking about when it comes to Star Wars. Or Han Solo and Princess Leia. But those are the two main people I'm getting at. And when you completely just flip that character around and give him a whole different direction, yeah, you're going to have some controversy. And on top of that, the controversy is so high, even though it did good critically, and of course box office wise, it did amazing. Not as good as Force Awakens, but good enough to where it's like, yeah, it's almost $1 billion at this point. The fans' reactions is like 56% round on Rotten Tomatoes. I think that's the lowest of any Star Wars film, including prequels. That says how much people did not respect what they watch, fan service wise. And there was even a petition saying that they want this movie removed from the Star Wars canon. They want a whole new Episode 8. They want to go back and redo this one. Which is kind of like, but Carrie Fisher passed away, and this is her last film. That to me is kind of the solid ground of why I wouldn't want to change it. And on top of that, it's like, it's done, And to me, it's not a bad film. It's not. I actually enjoyed this more than The Force Awakens, mostly because, again, it's its own story. But I did like the darker direction that it went. I liked what Rian Johnson thought these characters should be going. And I thought, I keep saying I need to focus on my vocabulary a lot more. I believed that this was a good second chapter, but it definitely had a lot more flaws to me than The Force Awakens, because one of which, too, I feel as if Rian Johnson was setting up his own trilogy through this movie, because if you haven't heard, Rian Johnson is going to create his own Star Wars trilogy when the sequel trilogy is over. It's not going to do anything with Skywalkers or Souls or whatnot. It's just going to be like completely different characters that also takes place in a galaxy far, far away, which is the simple ways of how Disney's going to push out 20 Star Wars films in the next years coming up. Somewhere in the end, there are some characters that kind of end the movie out for us, and I just thought, what is the purpose of this exactly? Like, why did they do this, or why did they end off with these characters? And all I thought was, maybe it has to do with Rian Johnson's trilogy, because I don't see it coming back in Episode 9. Overall, Star Wars The Last Jedi, to me, it's definitely worth watching, but I want you guys to have your own opinion on it. Would I recommend it? Honestly, I would, but I know so many people who go into this coming out with different opinions than I would. I'm part of those critics that would give it an A on Rotten Tomatoes, but I also see where everybody's giving it an F on the audience side. I get it. So, at the end of the day, Star Wars The Last Jedi, I actually want to know what you guys thought about it. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Do you think it should be removed from Star Wars canon? What did you think about Luke Skywalker in this film? What do you think about Rian Johnson's direction? Whatever it is, let me know in the comment section below. And guys, thank you so much for watching. And if you want, you can click right here to see more of my thoughts on the matter.